The year is finally coming to an end, and the question that we have on the table today is, how far with your life resolutions? My name is Penny Persis, and I'm going to be your host for this show or the podcast called The Life Lab, where we are going to be discussing different life series, good and bad, comfortable and non-comfortable conversations, looking for a way where to motivate, transform, help each other, and to becoming better people of who we are supposed to be. I mean, that is what we're supposed to be doing for the next years that we have to live in this world. Now, today I decided that we begin with these life resolutions that challenge us each and every day. I know you know, when the year was beginning, and you decided to write all the goals, all the things that you want to achieve, all the things you're like, okay, this year I'm going to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Meanwhile, me this year I didn't write. I decided not to write, not because I didn't have, but for the previous years where I used to write these resolutions, man, things turned out not to be happening. I write, and at the end of the year, the only thing I have is life. I don't know if you guys, the things that you write, but then today, I decided us to talk about this thing. I believe it's so challenging. We usually set life resolutions. We usually set them, sit down, write things like, this year I'm going to buy a car, I'm going to marry, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And man, at the end of the year, you don't even have a quota. My question is, where do those resolutions go? Do you push them onto another list in another year? Or we just decide to give up like that? These are conversations you and I are supposed to sit down on such a podcast and try to listen, relearn. We help teach each other, and we see where are the problems usually coming from, more so on setting such resolutions. Because I believe when someone sits to set a target, they have a foundation of that target. They have a vision, they have a dream, they have listed out how that dream is going to be processed and how that dream is going to come into reality. But it's so unfortunate that sometimes, or in most cases, we set these things without visions, without foundations, without nothing. Sometimes I believe we're just excited that the year is starting, and you're like, okay, and on your budget, the budget that you have is for 300 million wedding. But it's unfortunate that you don't have a job. My dear, who's going to marry for you, that lady, if you don't have a job and you want to marry? I believe sometimes we set these resolutions, we set these targets because of excitement. I believe sometimes we just oba tuba tugezesa oba tuba tukola ki ate ekisinga okuluma nti ebintu bino oba ebirooto bino bye tubeera nabyo, how much we set them. In most cases, when they fail, we dump them, we leave them, and sometimes we end up being people who we are not supposed to be. We end up giving up on life just like that, because last year you set a resolution. One of your resolution was to buy a car, and you didn't buy a car, and then you're here. But then, what of this time round, when we think about things like, before we set resolutions, let us first set foundations for these resolutions. Because I believe you know the things that you set when the year was beginning. I told you, I didn't set. I was like, but then at the end of the year, I realized it is a mistake, because everyone is supposed to have a plan for the year. Because when you look at also on this, the institutions planners. So sometimes because we end up giving on. And I just realized that, okay, and let us look at the plans that they set and how far they've taken them. And I believe also nange ensobi ze nakolanga when I was setting my resolutions, ze ensobi ezimu osanga nawe ze wasettinga and the year is ending and you're not seeing anything happening. Let us look at the things that are failing us. Byonga byo byasala okutugana impaka wetuliko to fail us. Ebitu failing abikasera okulaba nga resolutions of it is happening. I think I sat down in netunulira why were my resolutions ever failing. You set 10 of them, but at the end of the year, the only thing you have is life. Oyina bulamu bokka bolabawo kubanga wali owandiika omwaka ng'otandika, of course wagamba I have to end this young and mulamu. But let us look at things that fail us, honestly. Nga bitugana bigana resolutions of simanyi gwe yotese otya naye nze ngenda kwogera ebyange, which I think failed me when I was setting my resolutions. First and foremost, mostly this goes to us the youth. Getting hands on. We do not want to work. That's the reality. Being hands-on, working, getting out of our comfort zone. Let me tell you, my dear ones, when I was setting my resolutions, yes, I used to hustle, pola, but then I'd not really understood working with a focus of getting something. I was working just to work, just to show the society that I'm working, but I wasn't focused about life. And most of us set resolutions, most of us want to be someone, most of us have targets, most of us want to reach to that ABCD, but you don't want to work. The question is, however much you have got, who is going to help you achieve those resolutions? Who is going to help you achieve those targets at the end of the day? I think we are supposed to get out of our comfort zone and we do something, get something, do something with yourself, by the way. Do something even if it earns you 10,000 or 5,000, as long as you're doing something. There is no way you're going to get that phone. There is no way you're going to get that, I don't know, something that you know that you have set a target for. You're not hands-on. Sometimes it's not basically about money, but sometimes it needs also us to get out of our comfort zone and we just do something with ourselves. Getting out of our comfort zone actually is something that is not easy. Getting out of a comfort zone is something that is not easy. But until when you start seeing your friends achieving, you start seeing your hobbies driving, you start seeing your churchmates driving or achieving dreams, that is when you will know that all along, wali webase nga toyina kyokola, nga toli kweyamba. And I believe if I had set resolutions for this year, Ngansaze wanting in a focused woman who's hands-on on each and everything that I do, I think my resolutions would have been successful at the end of the year, trust me. But because I also had fear to set resolutions because they were failing all the time, start setting our resolutions. Another thing I think we should look at is self-love, self-discovery. Sometimes we set resolutions because we are competing. You set a resolution not because you need it, but because you're seeing your friend who has it. You set a resolution that this year I have to walk down the aisle, yet you don't even have a man. Then how can I set a resolution that this year I want to get proposed? When I don't even have kakomao. But sometimes we end up setting resolutions out of jokes aside. We end up setting resolutions because we are competing, because we want to compare ourselves with Ababina. You've seen your friend buying a car, you've seen your friend doing something and you also want to do it, not because you need it, but because you want to compete. You do not love yourself, you've not come to understand yourself, you've not come to just get yourself what you want, what you need, but you just want to compete. You just want people to see you. You just want the cameras to be on you, all the lights to be on you, my dear. I think in most cases, because also competition takes a lot. requires a lot. And just because you are aiming at something that is sometimes not even in your lane, sometimes you're going to end up failing on it. You're going to end up nobo chifunye kigenda vayo nga si engeri ekivuddeyo ogenda kikolerera nnyo. At the end of the day, ebintu ebijweteke, it's also failing in life. So I believe ngana fenga fe tutekedde okumanya who are we. Like in Jesus self-love, but I think there is another different big term that we can give it. Not again until this is what I deserve and this is what I need and this is who I am. I think that also can help us get where we're supposed to do. And also another thing that I believe is honestly doing a lot of games on how we set our resolutions failing is the circle of people around us. Honestly speaking, you cannot be around failures and you think you're going to be successful. I'm sorry to say, but the honest truth is, failures, and you think for you're going to be successful. Because the circle of friends botambula nabo byebirowoozo byo yenkolayo yengeri gy'okolamu ebintu kwegamba mubeera kana akantu ke batugamba ngeda birds of the same feathers flock together. So honestly, sometimes I believe you also have to look at the circle of friends around us and like nachiri jono nachiri jabulo tubeera nga twogera agamba for her taina buzibu kudating abasajja bafumbo. And that is naturally just target, but your target is to get married. Honestly speaking, somehow, somewhere, you're going to follow naturally just lane, you're going to follow her move, and at the end of the day, to jakulava, now for say mistress. So I believe also the circle of people around us. Trust me, you're also going to get out of your comfort zone and you start working. They are party animals. Trust me, you will also lose out on focusing on yourself and focusing on your future. And you'll see even if resolutions or settings and what is working out. So I believe also the circle of friends is it trader core. Around us. That's what's mattering. And also I believe another thing, because I'm saying this out of my personal experience, all the resolutions I used to set, ngazi failing, at the end of the year, that I breathe in and I breathe out. But then I was like, but why do my resolutions, why are my targets not targeting? And I believe out of the research that I made, natula nekola research ku mikwano gyange, ku bintu byenkola, ku bantu abaneetolodde, ku ngeri gye ndowooza, and I came up with such reasons. And then one of also another thing that I looked at and I think mattered a lot is social capital. Friends, the thing is, we really need that social capital. We are in a trend of where people are saying, I'm an introvert. But it is of a factor these days, the word is trending a lot. And however much you are an introvert, madam or sir, you need social capital. It honestly matters a lot. You need people that are going to help you. You need people that are going to help you along the way. However much you feel like you're self-centered, you cannot help yourself 100%. You need people to push you. You need people to be on your neck. You need people that are going to hold your shoulders. You need people that are going to be like on your case. You need people that are going to be advising you. You need people that are going to be there to see that you don't lose track of yourself. We really need the Twitter social capital. We really need those people. We really need, but I believe we need them 100%. So sometimes and we feel like we are enough. In our comfort zones, we are enough. As long as I have this, I am enough. But I believe twetaaga abantu abo abagenda tuleetera okugetinga exposed to different spheres, abagenda tuleetera okugetinga exposed to different things, different workstations, different ideas, abagenda later ideas. So abagenda like people that are going to make you reason outside the box, and that is the social capital that we need. I think omwaka guno, at the end of this year, one of the things that I've really done is to make sure that I build my social capital. Not because I want to get a large group of people or who I call friends, but then I just realized that I really need a social capital, friends that are going to push me, friends that we are going to and we discuss business ideas, we discuss what is next, what is happening with us, what are we going to do, what can we better up, tugenda better linga chi, tugenda kuzako chi, and I believe it's a yes for me at the end of the year. I believe I do not regret that decision that I made to create a social capital. And I believe you also need it there. Just in case you're seeing your things not working out, try checking on your social capital. Maybe your social capital has a problem somewhere, somehow. And then also another thing that I'm going to end with on reasons as to why some of our resolutions don't work out is, who is your mentor? Who are those people that you run to? Who are those people that you talk to? Who are those people that you go to for advice, or for you? You're your counselor, you're your own counselor, you're your own self. I believe in life we need mentors. We need mentors more so in this whole process of growing, career-wise, emotionally wise, spiritual-wise. Who is that person that you go to? I believe also these people matter, because if you are going out to someone who has already failed in life, and this is someone who advises you, what are you going to do with your life? I believe you also supposed to check out on those people that we talk to, those people that we run to, those people that we tell our secrets, those people that we call our mentors, those people that we run to and we're like, okay, I have a business idea, what is up with it? And we really also need to check their advice. But I believe if the mentor is a good person, I believe also the advice is also going to be good. But if that person that you go to, the person that you run to, if that person is a bad person, trust me, also what is going to happen with your life is going to be bad. So we also need to look at our mentors. I've tried to look at my mentors this year, people I call my mentors, and I just discovered, unfortunately, I didn't use my mentors very well. I didn't use the people that were around me very well. At the end of the day, I wasn't helping myself. I didn't seek advice. I thought I knew. I thought I was enough. I thought it was all with me. I thought it was all well with me. Yet, I really needed advice. I really needed mentors. I really needed these people, these role models to push me to where I am today and where I'm going. So I believe as next year is starting, when I set my resolutions next year, I believe by the end of the year, my resolutions, at least at the rate of 10, achieving at least 5, than being at 0 like my previous years, where I used to set resolutions and things didn't work out. I don't know what you have in mind. I don't know what you've been doing, and I don't know exactly what has been failing your resolutions to work out. But trust me, I've shared something out of my experience. I looked at things that stopped me, that made me fail, and at the end of the day, I realized it was excitement. It was because I was lazy. It was because I didn't want to work. I looked at my mentors. I looked at my social capital. I looked at the people, my friends around me. I looked at myself, my real self. I just asked questions like, Penny, do you really love yourself? What are you doing with your life? What is happening with your life? What are you on? I mean, you're growing each and every day, you're becoming big, but what is not happening with your life? I sat down, I did that self-counseling. I started asking myself, and then I knew that yes, however much these resolutions used to fail, I believe I also contributed to the failure of these resolutions. However, there's also certain resolutions, biblically wise or spiritual wise. You see, I am a Christian and I believe in times and seasons. There are also some resolutions that just fail, not because you've not done it, not because you've not stood in the gap, not because you've not done what is required, but maybe the time is not yet right. You're seeing all your car group getting married, and my dear, you speak well, otambula wegendereza, otambula osaba, otambula oyogera ennimi, ogezezaako okukola ebyowegendereza, and things are not working out. Maybe your targets are not working out. And somehow, let's talk about the fact maybe it's not yet the time and season. That is on the biblical view, that is on the spiritual view of it all. And still, even if the time and season is not yet, I believe we can do something with ourselves. Look at the 9 resolutions, the 9 targets that you set. At least zinendala working it out, and in the right time, when the time is right, when the time is due, the Lord shall make it happen. That has been the end of our episode today. See you next time. Bye bye.